recently started thinking about what is this MEL all about, and what does it mean to the system orchestrators who are trying, like Harish Hande, who are trying to move the systems, and what is the missing piece. So we just started thinking about it the last few weeks.
Hello, I'm Anaga from Apurva.ai. I'm the lead knowledge and research there. I'm currently helping to figure out a framework based on MEL, and yesterday's session was an eye opener in a lot of ways. So, looking forward to today.
Hello, I'm Mangalam. I'm also from Apurva.ai, and building onto the thing that Anaga just mentioned, that she's building a framework for the work that we are doing, and uh, why it is actually important for me as well to be here is because when you bring in newer technologies into the work, and our products are based on AI, and the way they function and the change that they bring into the organizations, so it again needs a newer ways of monitoring, evaluation, and learning. So that is the space that I'm coming from in this conversation.
I'm Akanksha. I'm from Frida, the Young Feminist Fund, and I think some of us met yesterday. I'm Kritika. I'm from ISDM, Indian School of Development Management. We have recently started research in impact measurement last year, and we are still grappling with a lot of challenges and questions we were discussing yesterday. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Maltesh from Selco Foundation.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Madhu and I'm part of Selco.
Hi everyone, I'm Anil Lobo. I work with Selco Foundation MEL team. We have mainly a quantitative based approach for our MEL requirements. I would look forward to learn something new, and by that we can change our approach in our, especially in livelihood programs.
I work with Swasti, the Health Catalyst, as a project coordinator and an aspiring researcher who has failed multiple times. So, yeah, I'm here to learn something and apply that in my future research.
Hello everyone, Mahesh here. I'm working with Piramal Foundation on a product called Forest and Water, and we are still in the strategy development phase, and it's good to learn about MEL. That's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Manisha, and I work for Sustain Plus Energy Foundation. I look after monitoring and evaluation, and I've been doing that for 5 years, but I still have lots of questions.
Hi, I am Saurabh Mukherjee. I teach at IIM Bangalore.
Hi everyone, this is Naveen Kumar, data analyst. I'm a part of MEL Silco Foundation.
Hi, this is Serenia. I'm part of monitoring team as data analyst. So today I'm here to learn the new techniques in MEL. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Rani and I'm currently working as a program coordinator research and evaluation at Selco Foundation.
Hi everyone, myself Mohan. I am from DS. So I work in the quality department, and I'm recently I started learning about MEL. What is the scope of it? So excited to learn more. DS.
Hey, I'm Tash. I'm really sorry I'm late. I'm from the UK. I'm an energy access researcher and consultant.
Okay. Was everyone in yesterday's session on MEL? No, you were not there. Most were there. Most were there. You were there. You were there. Okay. I thought, nonetheless. So maybe Gurshabadjeet, do you want to?
Sure. My name is Gurshabadjeet. I'm a strategy and ML consultant. I've been working for in the space for last 14 years, roughly, and I'm quite interested in learning-based user-centered systems. And yeah, I'm going to pause there.
Yeah, thanks, Gurshabad. And I guess everybody saw me yesterday mostly, but I'm Andre, and I've been working in the MEL space since 2003. So it's like 22 years, banging my head against the hard wall that blocks learning from happening. So our session today actually is the idea is to have a bit more of a workshop format. It's not like us trying to teach what learning is, but it's more based on drawing on collective experiences in the room around moments when learning has actually happened and what makes that possible. Because as we heard yesterday, so I'll just say a few words about yesterday's session. You know, M&E has been around for a long time. It was called M&E for many, many years. At some point, it shifted from being called M&E to being called MEL, and there are lots of other variations of that. Monitoring evaluation became monitoring evaluation and learning, because learning, lo and behold, didn't seem to be happening. And we're here now, like many decades later, and we're all still struggling with the learning part. We're collecting reams of data, we're commissioning vast numbers of evaluations, but there's this very entrenched feeling that we heard a lot about. It was quite emotional yesterday, I think, people expressing deep frustration that, you know, M&E is not really adding value, it's compliance, it's burdensome, and the learning isn't happening. Can't we just do away with all of it? And I think somewhere in the middle, you know, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater if we take that kind of approach. So the idea today is to actually talk to each other, share our own experiences, to try and tease out how does MEL actually translate into learning. And before we do that, just to quickly recap, I thought we could just try and jot down some of the points that came up yesterday. So we've got 3 headings that we're proposing to try and do that under. One of those is what we could call the system, sector, and even maybe the organizational aspects. These are more like system structure kind of related things. Another is more around like individuals, so skills, mindsets, and things of that kind. And the third is around what we'll call approaches. Approaches, methods, tools, and things of that kind. And we wanted to just kind of get a quick reading from the room of any points that struck you from yesterday of reasons why learning is not happening. Reasons why monitoring and evaluation is not leading to learning and change. And I think we have some new joinees. Should you just very quickly introduce yourselves, just who you are and what your role is?
My name is Thomas. I work for the Access to Energy Institute. We do access to energy. And I've spent 10 years trying to MLE myself through commercial investors and funders, so trying to understand what they want.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, Sanhita from Selco. I'm taking care of the institutional relationship department.
Hi, I'm Sahana. I'm from Selco. I'll be looking at reporting things in CSR department.
Great, thanks so much. Okay, so we were just mapping out some of the points that came up in yesterday's session on MEL around factors that are preventing M&E or MEL from actually translating into learning. So the first point that came up was related to the resources that are available for MEL-related activities. But yeah, it'd be great to hear. What else came up yesterday? So some kind of a mindset gap. or gap in understanding between donors and people in the implementing organizations. So gaps in understanding, gaps in expectations, what donors want to see and what we think we're trying to achieve. So the notion, the challenges that of intermediaries, like third parties, basically, right? We're talking about who lack understanding of the programs and the context that they're working in. That they're, yeah, that came up as well. Yeah. But I think it has come up a lot, this thing about, I heard it a lot also in the morning session, this feeling that someone almost described it like a flea-ridden dog that was getting all of its blood sucked out. Yeah. No? In the morning session, yeah. Oh yeah, communities being otherized. So
And it was a bit of a mouthful. Humidifying something I was saying.
So I think, but it's not just the over-reliance, it's third parties who also lack some kind of depth. Trust is definitely a big one. Right. So how would we say that excessive focus on okay. So is that about a lack of flexibility maybe in the frameworks that are used? That rigidity, yeah. So you had your hand up earlier. Yeah. Well, is that about where does that fit? Somewhere. Where would you put it? Methods?
Maybe not individual mindset, but this sense of like evaluation is really personal, right? So that
Low tolerance for negative findings. Something like that?
I think that's a mindset problem.
From reflecting from yesterday's conversation, even now, I feel that whenever as a group we are discussing about MNT, the health part always gets Devyani. Even yesterday's conversation came right at the end, maybe 2 minutes back before the session was going to end, we got back. And here also, when we are talking about it, we are just every point is around compliance and everything is about learning, the intent on learning. So maybe when you're talking about framework or an obstacle problem, so that becomes a whole problem.
Yeah, I think to your point, the kind of way my funders look at this does not help me as an organization to learn about myself. I write it because they want the TOC and whatnot, but it's just not what keeps me in my organization and people I work with. What I propose to what us, our clients, nothing on the ground, it doesn't fit their KPIs and the other one. That's the way that I learn. I grow with my clients. I need to listen. The way that you serve people. My case, I hear from younger people, they understand what I do. And they want to come to. And it's almost like the MAE people at the village and are coming. Really like the formal thing. That's not helping the program, more need that needs to be done. That's my experience, a little bit provoking. Is there something that you also have in your relationship with them?
They got the perspective right. So I think it's very important. See, the idea of looking at management level is basically because when you go into this field, you tend to get distracted because there's so much. How do you know that you're actually working with this? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, today if I read through, irrespective of this, I will get news from it, I will get network from it, I will get power writings, I will get that. How do I ensure that I only get protein? So then my food has to be done in a certain way that I get only protein. So I think when you're doing it at that level, it's basically to get that direction that listen, don't lose it. Again, that focus. But it is for us as a team to capture the value. How do we do it? So I don't think there is any wrong management doing towards that. This is your people. You're in answer.
But there are competing priorities. Essentially, the point is that sometimes those priorities and requirements might be competing with each other.
Just one thing, we're gonna get into like a proper discussion. At the moment, we're trying to fill this up with this is not like right and wrong. We're not debating yet, but we're trying to get a kind of big picture of the different reasons why each of us has struggled in different ways. Right? We'll get into like what we need to do to get out of it, but it sounds like there's something about competing ways of understanding what's going on between donors. So it's not just about trust, it's about understanding, it's about how you conceptualize, how you communicate, and being made to think or do in ways that are maybe the donors, which is maybe useful for them, but is not useful for us. I think I think there's something again about this power equation in terms of knowledge, right? Capacity. So we could say there's limited capacity, weak capacity maybe, and skill sets. Yeah. So that's both methodological and skill, quant bias. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think for me, what resonated most was how we look at learning as a social process rather than a social and a political process. I think you brought it up, and I think I really love that point because. Oh, sorry, was it?
It's fine. It doesn't matter. We keep saying the same thing. So.
Yeah. So that was the note that I resonated with because I think essentially what all of us are talking about is understanding the process of social change, which everybody perceives very differently. So how that change occurs on the ground, probably there's not a common understanding of it, which is why there are conflicting priorities on how that change should be brought about. So that was my reflection.
How would we frame that as a kind of factor that prevents learning? How might we?
Probably, I'm not sure whether it's a mindset, but it's probably a skill to understand the change process. Process of change. Process social.
Because I don't come from the MEL field, so I'm very happy that I have unbiased thoughts which I agree on. So from yesterday's conversation as well, I said that there's a centralization issue, that centralization is happening at the fundamental level, at the level of MEL across maybe 100 different organizations and applying the same parameters in this different organization. When we say that solutions that NGOs are building should be hyperlocal, everything should be hyperlocal and contextual, whereas while doing the MEL, while deriving the framework, you are kind of cutting out all of the context and saying that this is the practical framework that is. So, truly centralization looks like.
So we could say something like overly standardized. Yeah. Everything, indicators, and so on. Shallow, excessively standardized and lazy or something. Yeah.
Looking at learning as something that needs to happen outside or that needs to happen separately, right? The learning function in organization inside. I think this is the learning team, and they're the ones who design when we learn, how we learn, instead of looking at learning as a more integrated sort of like identifying those locuses where learning is already happening at schools, and instead looking at it as a more
Yeah, isolate. Mel in general, right?
Mel
Needs
in
to be kind of up in some corner somewhere. Yeah.
How do you expect that person to come and collect data and do surveys and then say, okay, this was a mistake, this way? It's like it's a behavior of I come from a corporate who get into the government. Testing team, software testing, used to be treated like any other business. They don't exist. They're so invisible. But if they don't exist, that's when they treat you as a business. Nobody will accept this in important function. Same thing like me, like engineers. And serendipitously, I'm pushed back to it. So I don't know how to explain.
I always, the idea of like outsourcing learning seems very strange. Like, okay, you learn for me, I'll just do my thing. And how does that work? Yeah.
Building on the learning aspect, I've noticed
low trust in data, right? Often from yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait.
Learning for most of the time it doesn't go back to the community for whom we are working for beneficiaries communities. Are we presenting that data learning to the community in a easy language for them so they can build into the they can declare approaches after their learning.
We function or how we function. I mean, we need to, I feel it's a lot with how we choose to. It's like, at the end of the session, it's such a session. You can engage after each session to make the best and the company. The learning is to make a big difference. Because I don't think the benefits end user, we are the beneficiaries, we have a job.
So there were, I think, two more points to make, and then we're gonna move into the next session because I think we'll have to run on a little extra if it's okay. Just a little bit. Otherwise, yeah, but please go ahead.
I'm wondering whether should maybe not try to steal it and take the weight of the shoulders because they cannot be learning on behalf of the
But I think what people discussing yesterday as well is that, and that's the point you're bringing, we can't learn for others, right? You can learn from the work that you're done to a certain extent, but then for the learning function to sit with others, for instance, makes doesn't work. How do you empower grantees to bring that learning to create a context of it?
An interesting thought around that though is whether, like, who can facilitate learning?
Yeah.
You can't learn for others, but can you enable?
Right.
Right. So
How do you create the conditions for that?
we're moving into, I think, time-wise, and also even I can feel. I think we're kind of, yeah, no, and content-wise. Okay, last point. Then we really need to, yeah. Okay.
So in this day we're talking about issues programming and counseling. So my question is that initially when it was MNE, there was a need to hire learning to do it and make it easier because we did not, as a society, have the capacity to learn at the book. At every day, as an organization, we do not learn. But now we have the capability to do that. So now it makes sense to again make it MME as a separate function because MME in general practice happens within 3 months, 5 months, 1 year down the line. And it's a recurring function. Right? Whereas learning to happen actually on a day basis, and you can nowadays capture on a daily basis all of these learning and process them and put it to your kind of practices. So just going to question out that would it make sense to again take learning out of it and then make it as a daily function?
So I'm not gonna. I won't try to answer that, but I mean, I think people have always been learning. I think it's the first thing to first recognize that even before there was enemy, before we had names for these things, learning was happening. And I think basically, if you get a group of humans who have a goal, they will, whether they are motivated by, they will try to figure out how to achieve that. Basically, they will learn. Problem is when you scale this up and you're funding it across hundreds of organizations, then you're like, we need systems, we need processes, how to do it, these people aren't doing it, and so this whole field emerges and it becomes overly like whatever it has become. But I think learning, we could always learn. There are always ways to improve how we learn also, right? The technology you're working on, for example, or different ways of gathering data, different methodologies, it can always be enriched. So I think it's a good question, what should go in and what shouldn't. We're going to move to the next session. Yeah. How do we know? How do we know that we're learning? I mean, there are a lot of ways that we can know that we're learning. One, yeah. I think there's a question about measurement also. I mean, observation. But what I'm trying to say is only that, let's say I'm in my house, I'm trying to figure out how to make a meal better. I can taste it, right? I can cook a meal, I can see whether it came out well or not, I can make adjustments, I can ask people around me. There's a lot. So yes, yes. But people, what I want to say, but all I'm trying to say is that without just, let's not get into a debate about it, but without elaborate formalized systems, people have been coming up with ways of getting feedback for a long time. Humans have been doing that. I mean, we can go into a deep one, but I want us to kind of shift into our discussion now. There will be space, yeah, to get into this of how learning happens, what's needed for that. So, thank you. But I would like the things to come out, but we're going to run out of time if we don't move on, okay? So, what we're going to do is divide. How many people here today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20. Okay. So I think if we can divide into about 4 groups, and I think the easiest way to do it is going to be like maybe counting off. Or wherever you're sitting, if you feel like, that's also an option. You can speak to the people. Yeah. So let's do a count off. Let's do a count off. Let's do a count off. 1. Back to 1. 3. 3. Four. Okay. So we're gonna. Unfortunately, the room is a little hard to move around, but we're gonna need everyone to kind of stand up, and we'll have group 1 over on that side at the back. Group 2 over here at the back. Group 3 maybe here at the front, and group 4 down here.
We all settled in our groups, respective groups. Yeah, and ये कर देते हैं, बैठ जाओ, कर देते हैं. हाँ. So I just need a moment, and then of course then you can go back to your groups and discuss. I just wanted to quickly. We did discuss a lot about the challenges yesterday, and we did a recapitulation of them right now. But for this particular exercise, uh, the ask is if you can think of each of you in your respective groups, you can think of an instance or a story where Mel actually enabled learning. Because we've talked a lot about how Mel does not really enable learning or hinders because of the way it's structured, because of all of these reasons, right? We just discussed. But can each of you within your own group narrate one instance or story of when Mel actually enabled learning? And once you tell the once the you've done a round of sharing, everyone's shared, and of course while telling that, keep these challenges in mind, and then if you as a group can come up with a set of 5 to 10 magic ingredients as to like what makes for like you telling stories for or instances of when Mel has enabled learning. So what are those common ingredients that make for a relatively successful Mel which enables learning? So in the group, after one round of storytelling, you can discuss with your group and see if you can come up with some ingredients which you think make for a Mel which enables learning. And of course, you keep all these challenges in mind as well, the ones we discussed yesterday, different panelists shared, and the ones we've just discussed now as well. Is that okay?
So it's now 4:20. We were told we have until 4:40, but I think it'll take at least 20 minutes for you to, in your groups, go around and share. So if it's okay, we'll eat a little bit into the tea break so we can have sharing back from everyone and hear what you've come up with. And just don't feel like you have to have some gigantic story. It can even be something very small that you've experienced where you feel like learning actually happened and Mel actually supported learning. What made that possible? If someone doesn't have, that's fine. The idea is that you get to hear each other's experiences.
And this chart's available and sketch pens available, other stationery available that you might need for your group work. I'll spread it out.
But just an update on time, I think we've got 10 more minutes. And just a reminder that the aim is to harvest the magic ingredients, right, that make learning happen. What is it that makes learning happen? Yeah, so do try to get there based on your experiences and stories. Yeah.
Sorry to disrupt your flow again. I just need a moment. I I just a moment. I'm sorry for disrupting the flow. Uh, how far along are we? Are we about, like, in a few minutes we should be able to wrap up? Okay, yeah, that's great. Do you have a laundry list? 5 minutes, last 5 minutes we can wrap up. How far along are you guys? Okay, you can wrap up. Okay. Last 5 minutes to wrap up. And how far along are you guys? 5 minutes? Let's just wrap up. Thank you. Time's up now. Should we come back? Yeah. Thank you. We can still remain in the groups that we are in for the sharing, but we can come back. Yeah, we'll just wait for them to come back. Oh, they've come back now. Okay. Over to you, Anand.
Okay, so I hope you had some rich conversations and got to hear each other's experiences and ideas, and that you've all gathered some of these ingredients. So the format we're going to use, just to keep it a bit dynamic, is we're going to ask one group to go first, share their first ingredient, and we're going to see if any other groups have the same one or something very similar. And we'll be trying to make a consolidated list. Gurshabadjeet will be trying to make a consolidated list of the points that have come up. And we'll see what we end up with, and if we all are on the same page or have different ideas. And yes, absolutely. Please start with your first group can start with their most important ingredient. Any volunteers to go for the first group? Anyone want to kick us off? Yeah? Sound proposal? Yes. Yeah, but only share your first top one to begin with. Yeah.
Acceptance piece came up slightly recently was that one of the things that was happening is that sometimes you come across practitioner or program staff bias or lack of acceptance, whether outcomes are positive or negative, right? So we've had instances where the evidence-based learning is saying, oh, this is working really well. And so then there's like, yeah, we know it's working really well. Or sometimes there's negative evaluation findings where you're saying X program was supposed to happen in this way and it's not happening. And then there's this sense of, no, that's not true. Or like just like an absolute denial or nothing. And the magic ingredient we thought that would work there is valuing their expertise, right? So speaking to people who are at the forefront, who are the program managers or the field early, preferably even before you design your survey or mail paper, to understand what is the expertise that they're already carrying and then work from there, so that they feel a sense of ownership and they feel a sense of like they're a bit more empowered.
Yeah, then let me stand on this. It's more like the journey is from A to Z, right? You know where you're, like, how much has already been traveled. So, you know, ABC is already done. So, you only have to question from C beyond. It should not happen that you start questioning from A and then you come and tell your team, hey, listen, you managed to reach C. They say, yeah, we know we managed to. You need to, yeah, what does that mean? What you're telling me that no, we.
So there's something here about ensuring that the MEL efforts are not disconnected from the knowledge and experience of the people who are concerned, who are actually doing the thing. Right. Right.
Ask them, like, we should make the research questions. They should make the research.
Great, great. So relationships, having some kind of rapport between the people who are concerned is one, and there was another element. Then, right, right. Did anyone else have a similar point? Here? You want to add another? Your next point?
I don't think emotional connection is the right thing. Cultural connection is to understand the nuances. Because if you're emotional, you take them very emotionally. I get emotional a lot in the field, but that's not the way to do it. You have to be like a doctor. If he's emotional, how will he get the juice out of it? You can't do it. You have to understand cultural connection.
And focusing on how does it really function, like you said, aspects of it, which gives us more to learn than we do.
But I think I understood something also a little bit different, which is about centering the perspective and experience of the end user, maybe, which means that at least we're valuing them. Yeah.
Beyond a number, beyond it.
Yeah, beyond the number.
We had a fun where and people are one of the main focus on it. And where this is what happens. They are whole human connection, emotional, like objectivity piece, I think tricky one.
I think so too.
I don't think that objectivity doesn't exist in neutrality. And I think, especially if you're looking at something like violence against women or DBD programming, not having that emotional sensitivity or that connection can really jeopardize any space for learning. Any space for, I think it depends. I err on the side of caution and make all claims that have the objective in front of me. Right? Because there is, I don't think that no, but I don't think objectivity as a way exists. I don't think the premise of it is it's just not the right way. I mean, just like going back to the past, that was like, was it like one of the first things that they teach you whenever you're trying to, collect data this way? That, like, of course, you're absolutely right, but you can't be completely obsessed. Like, set aside your own bias is very important in order to have them not impact or like color the data that you present.
So I think that we're actually bringing up topics which are require like way more time than we have. It's very it's personal, it's political, it's complicated. But the idea that any of us don't carry biases is like even our disciplinary training gives us biases. You go as a sociologist, you go as an anthropologist, you go as a political scientist, full of lenses, right? What you pay attention to, what you're doing, what you think is important, what you think. So anyway, but I think there's something here. There is a question around objectivity, subjectivity, knowledge production that we're grappling with. I'm not sure it's an ingredient. Yeah, but did anyone else have something around this? I don't think I can try. I won't try to answer that. I think it's a good question for us to sit with. I'd be curious to hear. Let's focus a little bit more on the gathering our ingredients. Are there any other important ingredients that anyone came up with? Because there's also going to be questions, right, that we leave with. We won't. There's no way we'll have answers to everything. But yeah, even storytelling, which on one level it's the most common thing, but somehow in organizational settings, it's like people forget how to do it. It's really strange because then you go to communities and people are doing it all the time. But yeah, it's a conundrum. Okay, we are way beyond the time. We did start quite late. I think we're going to have to wrap up. I think there are other things happening back at the main hall. I think there's a lot of interesting points that have come up and also quite a lot of questions that come up. And I think there's a lot more that needs to be, or that could be, or probably should be uncovered and explored. And one of the things that we thought we would try to do at the end of this session is to see if there's any interest and appetite, first of all, in actually trying to continue a discussion around learning. And if there's some kind of a platform or a group that we can create, and if there's a way we can further develop and refine some of these principles, and maybe turn these ingredients into some kind of principles or an agenda, because I think there's a really big dialogue that needs to happen in the sector around the fact that a lot of what we're doing and spending our time doing isn't actually helping with the learning. Learning does happen. So many stories I could hear of people sharing cases where it does happen, but far too few. So if there's an appetite in that, we would really like to invite you to let us know and share your contact details with us. And maybe we can online follow up with some email exchanges and start to explore how we could kind of take this question of really putting learning at the center forwards. And before you leave, Gurshabadjeet is going around and handing out some little cards. And what we'd like to do is invite you each to write on this card one insight and one question that really resonates for you as a result of this discussion that we've had today, that's come up for you, something unresolved and something that really maybe stuck with you, along with your contact details if you're willing to provide them.